The contrast between crypto's founding rationale over a decade ago and the current state of affairs couldn't be more stark. While Satoshi was driven by an obvious hunger to throw off the unfair shackles of unelected financial overlords, most of the crypto space in 2021 is currently obsessed with total value locked in projects that may or may not be creating new financial overlords. Meanwhile, over here in Cardano, we still remember Satoshi's mission and we're partnering with whole nation states. Ready? Let's go. We've got a few images of the Cardano Africa Tour that show the seeds of more nation state partnerships being planted. We've also got a few good news items and one that's honestly potentially a little bit scary. But even that item will only apply to a very specific audience. We're starting to get some photos, guys. We're getting some images of Charles and the gang and their progress on the Africa tour. Here they are in Burundi with His Excellency President Evariste Ndayishimiye. I know I probably butchered that. I apologize. In this beautiful, beautiful room. Look at this awesome, I guess it's a photograph. It's like a print of a photograph. I also noticed that Charles is not wearing his ultra colorful kicks in this photo. John O'Connor over there, he's got on his Adidas shoes. Charles has on something that looks a little bit more formal. Are they cowboy boots? The tiny bit of sole I can see on his shoe on his right side makes me think maybe those are cowboy boots. Maybe not, but these are not the ultra colorful shoes he's been wearing lately. And now I've gotten so used to seeing them, I feel like something's missing when I can't see the ultra colorful shoes. Not to fear, the ultra color shoes were present before Burundi when Charles and World Mobile and everybody else went to go visit with President Hussein Ali Mwinyi in Zanzibar. Look at this beautiful picture. Everybody's here. Everybody looks real relaxed. Looks like they're in a beautiful seaside patio that looks like the ocean back there behind them. Of course, one of the first things people commented on with this photo was the attire of the World Mobile team. Charles, of course, responded, hey, it's an Islamic country. I looked at the weather, though. I looked up the weather in Zanzibar. Looks like today is going to be a high of 85 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of something like 75 or 77 degrees Fahrenheit. While that's not super hot, and I've definitely spent a decent amount of my life in decently hot places. I'm not talking the hottest on earth or anything like that, but decently hot places. And when I look at these outfits, these look like this looks like much better attire for anywhere hot. I think these outfits would be perfect for some of the places I lived in that get really, decently hot in the summertime. So I think this is a good call by the World Mobile team. They look super comfortable and probably there are points in my life when if offered this kind of clothing for the hot weather I was in, I probably would have been better off taking this than wearing the kind of normal North American clothes that I was wearing at those times. But looks like the Cardano team is over there making all the right connections on the Africa tour. I know that there are probably some of you out there who are inclined toward geopolitics, who are asking the question, hey, isn't Zanzibar just an autonomous area of Tanzania? So I went to Wikipedia, and Wikipedia does identify it as an insular autonomous region of Tanzania. But if we go down here to government, we find this paragraph, and it turns out it's kind of a political question. So the Prime Minister of Tanzania in 2008 said there was nothing like the sovereignty of Zanzibar in the union government unless the constitution is changed forever. The Zanzibar House of Representatives, members from both parties disagreed and stood firmly in recognizing Zanzibar as a fully autonomous state. So when Charles describes the location of that photo as a country, it sounds like there's a little bit of a political question there. We also recently saw a little metaverse mystery get solved. Pavia had made this tweet. They said, hey, we have something cool to announce soon, within days. And the graphical hints they give us here look to me like monster plus strawberry. I personally had no idea what this was describing, but Pavia came through for us and let us know that Monster plus Jam was really Game Jam. I guess that kind of made sense because when I saw this Monster, what I really thought of myself was Space Invaders. So I was like, Space Invaders, Strawberry, that's making sense, but it's actually Game Jam. They said, Unity developers and 3D artists, we want you. So this to me was great news. Pavia is looking for Unity developers and 3D artists. They're running this game jam with prizes and the chance to join the Pavia team. This was interesting to me. I know some of you are probably jumping out of chairs like, hey, I don't like Unity. I like Unreal Engine. Why Unity? I have all these complaints about video games I played involving Unity because I love Unreal Engine. Other people are like, I love Unity because I love some of these games that were built in the Unity game engine. Over the years, a huge number of video games have been made with the Unity engine. You can see a year-by-year list here. We're talking about a very large number of games all the way up to today. Among those recent games is Escape from Tarkov, and you can see an example of the graphics in that game right here. I'm not expecting that Pavia Metaverse is going to approach anything like this, but if this is the potential of this game engine, I think it will be perfectly fine to create some little avatars so we can run around and talk to each other in Pavia. I'm really looking forward to this. I think this is a great development. And even if we had graphics that were half this, even just half this, it's going to be super fun. I think anybody who's been in Decentraland knows that the graphics in Decentraland aren't anything even close to this. And it's still kind of fun to run around and talk to people in Decentraland if you've got something to do in there. So I think it sounds like Pavia is on the right road. And I can't wait to see what they start kicking out once they hire some of these 3D artists and hopefully some Unity devs. More good news. The Project Management Institute made a list of what it thought were the 50 most influential projects in 2021, and Cardano's project in Ethiopia is number 14 on the list. You can see here they give a nice rundown of the project, and I think what's more important is this isn't like a crypto list. You can see the number 13 project was Mumbai Metro Line 3, and the number 15 project was an Andes renewable energy project. Looks like it has to do with wind turbines creating energy in the Andes. So it looks like Cardano is getting some recognition for actually doing things that help the people of the world. As you can imagine, a metro line in Mumbai or wind turbines in the Andes would also do. Here's the potentially scary news item. Okay, maybe scary is too strong a word. Maybe we should just say this is something you should be aware of if you fall into a very particular group. And this is not going to be most of you. That very particular group is the group of people who invested in the MinSwap Fair initial stake pool offering. So Mike brought my attention to this thread he created on Twitter, which goes through and explains at a high level exactly the potential problems he's highlighting here. He also has a very good Medium article on this issue. Let me preface this by saying that I'm no accountant and I cannot offer you any tax advice whatsoever. But if I were someone who participated in the MinSwap Fair initial stake pool offering, I would want to know that this article exists. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm bringing this to your attention so you know it exists and you can go in and read it for yourself. But when I read this Medium article, definitely some things jumped out at me. So I might mess up the details here, so I strongly advise you to go and read this yourself if you fall into this group. But what Mike's highlighting is the fact that the fair initial stake pool offering happened. And there was also an initial DEX offering. And the issue there is that the initial DEX offering established a price in ADA for the Min tokens. And there's various types of tokens, and I don't even know enough about the tokenomics of this project to comment on the interplay between the various tokens. But what Mike is saying here is that there may be an issue with that price being set by the IDO, because the fair initial stake pool offering participants, when they go to actually collect the tokens, that will be released to them. It looks like at some point down the road. I think it's December or January. The earliest the tokens can be claimed is after December 6th and must be redeemed within 10 epochs or January 25th, 2022 or forfeit. And again, I haven't verified any of the things in that thread or this article. I'm just repeating what I think I'm interpreting from Mike's work here. But this is a very detailed article. So the problem he's highlighting is that if the IDO established a price and that price is in ADA, when people go to collect these tokens who participated in the fair initial stake pool offering, Mike believes the IRS is going to say, hey, we have a price for those tokens now, a public price. And the second you collect those tokens, we can assign a value to the amount you just collected, and that's taxable. Part of the problem is it was enumerated in ADA. The price of ADA could go up in between now and when those tokens are collected by the FISO participants. The price of the tokens could also go down because we know, according to Mike, some of the tokens were distributed in this IDO. He points out that the taxes owed could actually exceed the value of the tokens you collect if the price of ADA goes up, because the price that was enumerated in the IDO, according to Mike, was enumerated in ADA. So the price of ADA goes up, you could have a problem where you owe more in taxes than the value of the tokens if you collect them. A really interesting piece here is that he points out there's actually an exploit. If someone goes ahead and takes $100 and sets up a little trading pair on some DEX, they could offer a high price of, say, $1 per MIN token. So if they set up a min USDT pair, they could offer $1 per min, and somebody who participated in the IDO might sell them those min tokens. That would then set a public price of $100 or of $1 per min, as opposed to the 0.055 per min that Mike says people bought the min tokens in the IDO for. That price, so for $100, you could publicly set that price. That would be the fair market value of that price if that's the only trade that had happened in that trading pair, and that's the only trading pair that exists for this token. What Mike's worried about here is that the IRS will say, okay, that's the fair market value of those tokens. But then when you go to collect those tokens, the liquidity in this trading pair is going to be very, very thin, possibly be very, very thin. So you'd never be able to recoup that value in order to pay the taxes. That was a very cursory and inelegant explanation of what Mike has laid out here, very persuasively. So I think if you go through and read this article, you're going to get a much better understanding of the argument that Mike's actually making here. And again, I'm no accountant. I don't know what's right and what's wrong. I don't know if Mike is 100% right here and this is a gigantic problem, or if there's some special reason why this is not a problem at all. Honestly, I hope to never know enough about taxation to have that kind of detailed knowledge to discern these kind of things. I'll leave it to the accountants. But if I fell into this group, I would be concerned about this. I would be concerned enough about this to go talk to my accountant about it. So the purpose of my presenting this here is to let you know, if you fall into this group, you may want to go talk to your accountant about it. Keep in mind that I may have misarticulated or mischaracterized some of Mike's arguments here. So I recommend you go read his thread, read his article, and do with it what you may. But I hope you're having a great week, and I will talk to you tomorrow.